Pride and Prejudice. This story is by Jane Austen. It is called Pride and Prejudice. The Bennets are a family in England. They have 5 daughters. Mrs. Bennet wants them to marry well. Mr. Bennet likes to read in peace. A rich man, Mr. Bingley, moves nearby. Everyone talks about Mr. Bingley. He has a big party. The Bennets go to the party. Mr. Bingley likes the eldest, Jane. His friend, Mr. Darcy, seems proud. Elizabeth is the second daughter. Mr. Darcy doesn't dance with her. Elizabeth hears and dislikes Mr. Darcy. Jane visits Mr. Bingley's house. She gets sick and stays there. Elizabeth goes to see Jane. She meets Mr. Darcy again. She starts to see him differently. But then, Mr. Wickham tells her lies. Elizabeth believes Mr. Wickham. Mr. Bingley suddenly leaves. Jane is very sad. Elizabeth hates Mr. Darcy more. Mr. Collins proposes to Elizabeth. She says no to Mr. Collins. Her friend marries Mr. Collins. Mr. Darcy tells Elizabeth he loves her. She refuses him angrily. Mr. Darcy writes her a letter. He explains his side of the story. Elizabeth realizes she was wrong. She sees Mr. Darcy is good. Elizabeth visits Mr. Darcy's house. She likes it and his sister. News comes that Lydia, the youngest, ran away. Lydia is with Mr. Wickham. This is bad for the Bennets. Mr. Darcy helps find Lydia. Lydia and Mr. Wickham marry. Elizabeth learns Mr. Darcy helped. She now respects Mr. Darcy. Mr. Bingley comes back to Jane. Jane is happy again. Mr. Darcy asks Elizabeth to marry him again. This time, Elizabeth says yes. Their families are surprised. But they see Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy are happy. Jane and Mr. Bingley also get married. Mrs. Bennet is very happy now. Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy love each other. They learn to understand each other. Pride and prejudice were their problems. They overcome these problems. They start a new life together. Elizabeth and Jane visit often. The sisters are very close. Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley are friends. They all live happily. Elizabeth and Darcy move to Pemberley. It is a large and beautiful house. They are very happy together. Lydia visits often with Mr. Wickham. Their visits cause some trouble. But Darcy helps them every time. Elizabeth's friend Charlotte visits too. She is married to Mr. Collins. Elizabeth sees her sister Mary less. Mary stays at home and reads. Kitty, their sister, improves in manners. She spends time with Elizabeth and Jane. Mr. Bennet misses Elizabeth a lot. He visits her at Pemberley sometimes. Mrs. Bennet is busy with neighbors. She brags about her married daughters. Mr. Bingley and Jane live nearby. They often see Elizabeth and Darcy. Their homes are full of laughter. The Gardiners, Elizabeth's aunt and uncle, visit. They are proud of Elizabeth and Darcy. Lady Catherine eventually visits Elizabeth. She sees Elizabeth and Darcy are happy. She accepts their marriage in the end. Georgiana, Darcy's sister, loves Elizabeth. They become very close friends. Elizabeth helps her be more confident. Darcy is grateful to Elizabeth for this. Elizabeth and Darcy host many parties. Their home is a happy place. They help people in their village. Everyone respects and likes them. Elizabeth learns to see the good in people. Darcy learns to be less proud. Their love grows stronger every day. They talk about their first meeting often. They laugh at their past misunderstandings. They are glad they got to know each other. Their story teaches everyone about love. It shows how wrong first impressions can be. It also shows the importance of understanding. Elizabeth and Darcy's love is famous. People talk about their great marriage. They become an example of true love. Their family and friends are happy for them. Elizabeth's life is very different now. She is happy with her new family. Darcy supports her in everything. Their marriage is based on love and respect. They face the future together. They are ready for any challenge. Elizabeth and Darcy's story ends here. But their love story goes on. It remains in the hearts of many. Pride and Prejudice is a timeless tale. It teaches lessons about love and life. Jane Austen created memorable characters. Their journeys are full of learning. Elizabeth and Darcy's love wins in the end. Their story inspires hope and happiness.